Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the From Compliance to Competency webinar series presented by the Regional Centers for Workforce Transformation. My name is Jen Parsons-Luxner, and I work as an independent training consultant in New York State, and I'm also the Region 2 lead for the Regional Centers. Here with me today is Region 2 South champion, Betty Hill.
Hello, everyone. As Jen mentioned, my name is Betty Hill, and I work for Elmcrest as an Employment Services Manager. We are both super excited to be doing this webinar for you today. And in the next 15 to 20 minutes, you're going to hear a scenario and view visuals that will not only help you remember the skills associated with Competency M, but you'll also see examples of how and when to utilize your skills to best demonstrate the competency.
So the focus of today's webinar is Competency M, organizational participation. This area of professionalism can best be measured by the DSP's ability to interface with all members of the person's support circle, not just those employed by the organization. And doing this in a stand-up and ethical manner is really the trick. So let's dive into core Competency M, organizational participation.
So there are three main skills associated with Competency M. Adheres to and promotes the mission, culture, and practices of organization. Participates in the work of the organization in a positive way by using problem-solving skills, and adheres to corporate compliance policies and procedures. By using these three skills, the DSP has the power to not only tap into a massive talent pool in their organization, but these will also help the DSP to stay ethical, competent, and knowledgeable as a professional and quality support. We will go over how to utilize these skills more specifically, but let's start off with a scenario where we will apply our general knowledge of these skills. As we go through this scenario, please keep in mind the skills associated with Competency M.
Meet Mike. Mike is an excellent DSP who is entering his second year on the job. During his last supervision session with his supervisor, Mike recently expressed discontent feelings regarding his role as a DSP. Mike could even be on the edge of quitting despite the love he has for the people that he supports. He said during his last meeting, "I used to feel that my voice was heard and valued at this company, but lately I feel my voice as a DSP is getting me nowhere. I try to advocate with and for Mary, but I'm unable to do so effectively." So Mike supports Mary, who lives with her boyfriend, Bill. Mary has discussed with Mike her new goals, which include 1, getting married to Bill, her boyfriend, and 2, moving away to a new town miles from her family so she can live more independently.
It's understandable for parents to show resistance to their loved ones' choices that involve risk. Usually this comes from a place of love and concern, not them being difficult as we sometimes label parents. Being a professional DSP involves showing respect and understanding to the parents and families, even when their wishes don't align perfectly with the people being supported. For a DSP, this is a tough place to be and tough place to navigate. Ultimately, it's about the person being supported to live the life of their dreams. There is a difference between living and having a life. It's our job to help people in getting there, using the whole support circle. What happens if mom is not in agreement with Mary, the person being supported? Moms recently stated, "Mary often changes her mind about things, and a wedding is too much money. Not to mention, doing this could affect her funding and income source, which she needs to support herself." In addition, it is known that mom feels her daughter needs to live close to the family, not further away, as Mary and Bill desire. The reason is because Mary relies on her family for rides a few days a week for church and work. Getting to work and church are both very important to Mary. If Mary should move further away from her family, they would not be able to continue transporting her to and from work and church as they do now.
Mike also said, "Lately, I feel some people in the support circle are more concerned with fear and safety, but are not as concerned with the reward of living an independent life as Mary wishes. I am trying so very hard to promote informed decision-making, independence, meaningful relationships in the community, as I've learned in training, but I just feel so stuck right now. So how do I balance this as a DSP who is trying to advocate with the whole team while still taking into account safety issues?" This is a really tough place to be. So here lies the problem. It is clear Mike is trying so hard to use the NADSP Code of Ethics. He's trying to use his DSP core competencies to navigate the situation, but he needs organizational support to do so. He feels the team is just not putting Mary first, therefore he is unable to reflect the true mission of his organization.
Last week, while supporting Mary during her quarterly support team meeting, Mary once again voiced her wish to marry Bill and move to a new town. Mary's mother responded to these requests by verbally downplaying Mary's ideas during the meeting, saying, "Mary, you really don't know what you want, and you're not cut out for marriage because you will most likely want a divorce within 6 months. This is exactly what happened to you when you wanted a dog last year. You grew tired of the dog within 6 months, and I needed to find him a rescue home. I fear it's going to be the same all over again." Well, Mary hearing this triggered some challenging behaviors.
As you can guess, Mary got very upset after hearing this at the meeting, and Mike is also feeling extremely concerned by what took place. And again, he's just not sure what to do. So remember, Competency M is about organizational participation, and the skills associated with M tells us that Mike needs to promote the mission, culture, and practices of the organization. He needs to practice problem-solving skills in a positive way. And lastly, he needs to adhere to corporate compliance. All right, let's start with skill 3, adhering to corporate compliance policies and procedures. The question is now, what is Mike's role in all of this? The main point for Mike as a professional is to navigate and strategize, certainly. But in addition, he needs to document. Documentation is really what skill 3, corporate compliance, is all about. In this scenario, it's very important that Mike shows his professionalism skill set in the form of really good, stellar documentation. This after he reaches out to the entire team in an effort to connect the organizational dots, and only after he discusses everything with his frontline supervisor. All of this is needed to address the issues and potential opportunity for Mary. So more of Mike's role. Together, Mike and his frontline supervisor both need to take action steps to better support Mary through this very difficult situation. In doing this, he is practicing problem-solving skills through the use of Mary's support circle. Again, it's together with his supervisor. They will most likely need to include other experts on the team. For example, a clinical team member, a social worker, or the care manager, and possibly others. Again, Mike's role is to document the progress in an ethical and professional manner. This shows core competency M, skill 3, adhering to corporate compliance policies. It's very important that we create a paper trail.
This takes us to skill 1. Quality documentation is not only reflected in skill 3, but it's also seen in skill 1. By recording accurate paperwork that reflects all points of view, focuses on the person's progress and strengths, while using other best practices for person-centeredness. This, when done well, can capture and influence the organization's mission and desired culture, seen in skill 1. However, sometimes doing more is both required and very much encouraged. Now, in this scenario, how can Mike use skill 2 to support Mary using problem-solving skills that positively contribute to the organization? Perhaps Mike can follow up this meeting by writing a professional email to the entire team, effectively communicating the dilemma at hand. He could provide his unique perspective and clearly communicate Mary's dreams and goals. What could Mike also include in this email? He could share the goals that Mary has been successful in completing, the past, current, and ongoing goals. He can use this accurate and person-centered documentation note to show how Mary is prepared for marriage and more independent living, despite the feelings of others. Remember, it's always best to stay clear, calm, and to the point when problem solving and navigating dilemmas. Not just in your documentation, but with all modes of communication.
Mike could suggest helpful strategies that could prevent a repeat of what happened at Mary's last meeting when she got really upset and angry and engaged in physical aggression, which we understand is simply a form of communication for Mary. For example, he could provide a reminder to the team about the need for using proactive visual and physical supports for Mary to help her better articulate herself, and reminders to use self-calming and coping strategies. Mike can also suggest by asking the clinician if they have any additional thoughts about new coping skills. Maybe what used to work for Mary no longer works, and everyone needs to put on their thinking caps. Adding these suggestions to the email definitely shows skill in skill 2, competency in skill 2. Another way Mike could approach the situation is to support Mary to email the entire team, including her mom, to voice her own feelings on this matter. Honestly, what would be more powerful than that? In this email, they could emphasize and reiterate the organization's mission to promote independence, individual choice, as well as putting people's voices truly first over all others. In addition, promoting self-advocacy practices, all seen in the mission and something that we learn about in training. They could include references to the NADSP Code of Ethics and the DSP Core Competencies as their guide for achieving Mary's personal outcome measures. By supporting Mary to write this email, Mike is continuing to demonstrate the 3 skills of Competency M. He's promoting the organization's mission and culture. He's practicing positive problem-solving skills, and he's following corporate compliance procedures.
What are some of the possible outcomes to using these approaches? Being a professional means providing input and asking for help, giving feedback and receiving feedback. Perhaps they discover through this follow-up conversation that others on the team were not fully aware that Mary desired to be married and relocate, despite Mary stating that in her first meeting. Sometimes people miss important details, or they just need to hear it again repeatedly. This follow-up conversation between the circle of support could also promote a conversation between Mike and the clinical department regarding Mary's need for new communication and coping skills. Maybe it's Mike who needs more support. Does Mike need more training on Mary's behavior support plan that has been written by the clinician? Perhaps Mike can learn role-playing methods or other new tools needed to support Mary in self-advocacy and communication efforts. This would be a good time to review new and existing coping skills with Mary should she be frustrated in the future. With this approach and with the help of Mike's supervisor, they could request a second team meeting after doing a bit of research, problem solving regarding other options that are available to meet Mary's wishes. Mike and his frontline supervisor could learn about travel training options, so Mary can learn how to transport herself to and from work and church without meeting her mother or other family members. Perhaps Mike invites Mary's mom to travel train with them to lessen any fears mom may have regarding her adult daughter's ability to safely use public transportation. It would probably be extremely helpful to Mary's self-confidence if she could get validation and encouragement from her mom to learn new things. In addition, Mary and Mike can reach out to the church congregation and see about any volunteers who may live close to Mary and could possibly drive her to and from church. This could not only promote Mary's independence, but it could also boost her social capital and natural relationships. Who knows, she could end up making new friends in the process.
So in conclusion, has Mike demonstrated the skills in this scenario? Remember, Competency M is about organizational communication. So has he demonstrated and promoted the mission and organization and the culture? I think so. Has he practiced problem-solving skills, and did he do it in an ethical and corporate compliant manner? So I invite you to please take a look at the interactive activity that matches Core Competency M and see if you can bring these ideas to life. So thank you so much for watching and listening. We really hope you have a great day. Bye.
Bye.